Hi everyone, Mark Igo here with this week's MassHSHockey.com recap. It's Friday, February 11th, and yes, we finally do have a winner for our Reebok 10K stick from last week's contest, so let's get right into the contest. With over 87 entries for the Concord-Carlisle-Drake matchup, we had 4 people submit the correct score, which had Concord-Carlisle winning that game 3-2. The winner of the 10K stick is going to be Tanner Johnson. Our friends over at Reebok Hockey have graciously donated 3 Reebok Hockey hats for the 3 runner-ups. So the runner-ups also will receive Reebok hats this week. And again, Tanner Johnson is our winner of the 10K stick. Thanks again to all of those that entered this week's contest. Okay, for this week's contest, we're asking you to correctly predict the outcome of the women's game between Natick and Needham. This game is going to take place on Monday the 14th at 7:40 p.m. So that's the Natick-Needham women's game on February the 14th, 7:40 p.m. This week's contest winner will receive a $100 gift certificate towards any Pro Ambition summer hockey program. So a special thanks out to Jeff Sorowick and his team over at Pro Ambitions for providing us with that $100 gift certificate. Be sure to click on the Pro Ambitions ad, which appears on our homepage. You'll receive a 5% discount towards any summer camp. This is available to anyone. So again, go to the homepage and take advantage of that 5% discount by clicking on the Pro Ambitions ad right there on our homepage. We're going to start over in Men's Division 1 this week. Again, 4th consecutive week here where we have a new team at the top. Barnstable has climbed back up into that top spot, now at 10-1-3. Last week's number 1, Weymouth, drops down into the number 2 spot, coming in at 14-2-1, while Catholic Memorial now is seated at number 3 at 7-6-1. Don't look now, but here comes Malden Catholic again, working their way back up to the top here. They're at 12-2-2, and they're coming in at number 4 this week. So let's certainly keep an eye on Malden Catholic as they try to work their way back up into that number 1 spot. Last week we told you to highlight the game between Central Catholic and Bill Ricker, and this turned out to be a terrific game as they skated to a 1-1 tie last Saturday night. This week we're going to circle the game between number 2 Weymouth Wildcats and their crosstown rivals, the 10-3-3 Braintree Womps. This game's going to take place on Wednesday the 16th at 6:10 p.m. So that's a must-see. Again, Weymouth Braintree coming up on Wednesday night, the 16th at 6:10 p.m. Over in Men's Division 2 last week, we predicted a shakeup here, and we've got one. Tewksbury skating into the top 3 this week as Newburyport continues to lead the way at 10-2-3. They're our number 1 team again this week. Staying at number 2 is going to be Wilmington. Wilmington is 12-1-2. And now our number 3 team this week is Tewksbury. Tewksbury-Redmond now coming in at 11-3-1. So they climb their way into the top 3 here. Last week we told you to take a look at that game between number 7 Boston Latin and number 4 Tewksbury, and what a game it was over at Northeastern University as these 2 teams came out in a hard-hitting battle and skated off to a 3-3 tie. So Tewksbury and Boston Latin giving us everything we could ask for in a 3-3 tie on Saturday night. This week we're circling the game between number 5 Peabody. The Tanners are coming in at 9-3-3. And they're going to face off against our number 9 Danvers Falcons this week. Danvers is coming in at 8-4-3. Will the Tanners be able to move back into that top 3? This is the first week they've been out of it. Or will the Falcons soar up a few spots and find themselves chasing the top 3 here? This should be a good one. It's going to take place on Wednesday the 16th at 7:30 p.m. That game's going to be over at Salem State. Over in Men's Division 3, again, the tide keeps turning over here. Westwood has hung on to the number 1 ranking for a couple of weeks now, and they're back at 11-1-1 in the top spot, while the Scituate Sailors are now this week's new number 2, coming to us at 7-4-1. Longmeadow drops down to the number 3 spot at 11-4-0. And let's keep an eye on this week's number 4, Marlborough, as they're keeping pace. They're now coming in at 11-3-1 and really starting to make a run here over in Division 3. So again, recapping the top 3 in Division 3, we have Westwood hanging on to number 1, Scituate now moving into the number 2, Longmeadow falling down to number 3, and Marlborough coming on strong at number 4. Last week we told you to circle the game between Norwell and their league rival, the Cohasset Skippers. Another good game. The Skippers were able to skate away with a 4-2 victory in this one, in a good contest. This week we're going to highlight the game between the 11-4-1 Dartmouth Indians as they face off against Division I Taunton Tigers. Taunton's coming in at 7-8-2. This game's going to take place on Saturday, February 12th at 2 p.m. So be sure to get out and catch the Dartmouth Indians and the Taunton Tigers on Saturday. Division 3A, we've got status quo over here. This week, Holyoke stays at the top. They're now 15-0-0. What else can we say about Holyoke? We feature them every week as they've been in the #1 spot now for 4 consecutive weeks. Amherst Pelham hangs on to #2 as they come in at 10-2-3, while Groton Dunstable stays at #3, coming in at 11-1-1. The Agawam Brownies are not going away. They're 10-3-1. They're at #4 and they're closing in quickly. So we'll keep an eye on the Brownies and see if they can finally break through this week into the top 3 spot. Last week we highlighted the game between the Brownies and #10 Greenfield. The Green Wave gave the Brownies a good contest, but the Brownies ended up cruising to a 4-0 victory. So a big win for Agawam there as they continue to try to make their way into the top 3 spots here. This week we're going to take a look at the 8-6-1 Belchertown Orioles as they square off against the 6-8-1 Nipmuc Warriors. The Warriors are coming into this contest looking to work their way up as Belchertown also looks to improve on their 8-6-1 record. This game's going to take place on Saturday the 12th at 6:20 p.m. Over in Women's Division 2, we do have some changes at the top. Although #1 Duxbury Lady Dragons hang on to that top spot coming in at 13-1-0, we have a new #2 this week in Norwood as they come to us at 13-1-0. The Mustangs are climbing their way towards that #1 perch. Fontbonne stays at #3 as they come to us this week at 10-2-4. So we've got the Duxbury Lady Dragons at #1, Norwood at #2, and Fontbonne at #3. Last week we circled the game between #11 Walpole as they came into this game at 10-3-0 and faced off against #9 Wellesley. Very even matchup. We expected a great game and we got one. These two skated to a 2-2 tie on Saturday night. They showed us how evenly matched they were, skating to a 2-2 tie. This week we're going to highlight the game between the Duxbury Lady Dragons and the Sandwich Blue Knights. Sandwich is coming in at 9-4-2. This game's going to take place on Wednesday, February 16th. A lot at stake between these two teams, so it should be a good one to catch. No changes over in Women's Division 1. Woburn holds on to that top spot, now coming in at 13-1-1, while St. Mary's is at #2, and they're improving their record to 12-0-3. #3 is Acton Boxborough. They're now at 13-2-1 and trying to keep pace with Woburn and St. Mary's as those three hold true for a second week. Last week we highlighted the contest between #7 Lincoln Sudbury and #25 Westford Academy. Lincoln Sudbury was able to pull out a 2-0 victory in this tight contest as Westford Academy skated right with them. This week we're going to look at the game between the Winthrop Lynn Vikings coming in at 11-2-1 as they square off against the Medford Mustangs at 11-3-2. This game's going to take place on February the 16th at 4:20 p.m. This should be a great battle between two of our top teams, so be sure to come out and watch Winthrop Lynn face off against the Medford Mustangs. Should be a good one. That's going to do it for this week's recap. Remember to check the website on Monday night for our weekly game of the week. The weekly contest for Pro Ambition's $100 gift certificate will go off on Monday night, February 14th at 7:40 p.m. So again, be sure to get your entries in prior to the start of that game. Coaches, please keep sending in your game changes, your team stats, and your rosters. These can be emailed to info@MassHSHockey.com. We appreciate those coming in, and we get those updated again on a daily basis. A lot of big hockey coming up this week. I'm sure we're going to see some more changes across the state in these rankings as we get closer to tournament time. So be sure to check the site on a daily basis. And I'll see all of you right back here next Friday night with your MassHSHockey.com weekly recap. Have a great week.